Acre.
The acre is a unit of area used in the imperial and U.S. customary systems. It is equivalent to 43,560 square feet. An acre is about 40% of a hectare or about 75% the size of an American football field. The acre is commonly used in the United States, Antigua and Barbuda, American Samoa, the Bahamas, Belize, the British Virgin Islands, the Cayman Islands, Dominica, the Falkland Islands, Grenada, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, India, Jamaica, Montserrat, Myanmar, Pakistan, Samoa, St. Lucia, St. Helena, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Turks and Caicos, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. It is commonly used in the United Kingdom, Canada and Australia, although the metric system is used in legislation. The international symbol of the acre is ACK, and is defined as 1/640th of a square mile. The most commonly used acre today is the international acre. In the United States, both the international acre and the slightly different U.S. survey acre are in use. The most common use of the acre is to measure tracts of land. One international acre is defined as exactly 4,046.8564224 square meters. During the Middle Ages, an acre was the amount of land that could be plowed in one day with a yoke of oxen and measured by one chain in width, 22 yards, and one furlong, or 10 chains in length, 220 yards, yielding 4840 square yards.
Description:
1 acre equals 0.001565 square miles, 4,840 square yards, 43,560 square feet or about 4,047 square meters, 0.405 hectares, see below. While all modern variants of the acre contain 4,840 square yards, there are alternative definitions of a yard, so the exact size of an acre depends on which yard it is based on. Originally, an acre was understood as a selian of land sized at 40 perches, 660 feet or 1 furlong, long and 4 perches, 66 feet wide. This may have also been understood as an approximation of the amount of land a yoke of oxen could plow in one day. A square enclosing 1 acre is approximately 69.57 yards, or 208 feet 9 inches, 63.63 meters, on a side. As a unit of measure, an acre has no prescribed shape. Any area of 43,560 square feet is an acre. The acre is often used to express areas of land in the United States and in countries where the imperial system is still in use. As of 2010, the acre is not used officially in the United Kingdom but is still often seen on estate agents' boards. In the metric system, the hectare is commonly used for the same purpose. An acre is about 40% of a hectare.
Differences between international and U.S. survey acres.
In the International Yard and Pound Agreement of 1959, the United States and 5 countries of the Commonwealth of Nations defined the length of the international yard to be exactly 0.9144 meters. Consequently, the international acre is exactly 4,046.8564224 square meters. Both the international acre and the U.S. survey acre contain 1/640th of a square mile or 4,840 square yards, but there are alternative definitions of a yard, see survey foot and survey yard, so the exact size of an acre depends on which yard it is based on. The U.S. survey acre is about 4,046.872,609,874,252 square meters. Its exact value, 4046/15,525,426/15,499,969 m2, is based on an inch defined by 1 meter equals 39.37 inches exactly, as established by the Mendenhall Order. Surveyors in the United States use both international and survey feet, and consequently, both varieties of acre. Since the difference between the U.S. survey acre and international acre is only about a quarter of the size of an A4 sheet of paper, 0.016 square meters, 160 square centimeters or 24.8 square inches, It is usually not important which one is being discussed. Areas are seldom measured with sufficient accuracy for the different definitions to be detectable.
South Asia.
In India, especially in South India, residential plots are measured in cents or decimal, which is 1/100th of an acre, or 435.60 square feet, 40.469 m². In Sri Lanka the division of an acre into 160 perches or 4 roods is common.
Equivalents to other units of area.
1 international acre is equal to the following metric units: 4,046.8564224 square meters, 0.40468564224 hectare. A square with 100 m sides has an area of 1 hectare. 1 United States survey acre is equal to 4,046.872661 square meters, 0.404687261 hectare. 1 acre, both variants, is equal to the following customary units: 66 feet x 660 feet, 43,560 square feet, 10 square chains. 1 chain equals 66 feet equals 22 yards equals 4 rods equals 100 links. 1 acre is approximately 208.71 feet x 208.71 feet, a square, 4,840 square yards, 43,560 square feet, 160 perches. A perch is equal to a square rod. 1 square rod is 0.00625 acre, 4 roods. A furlong by a chain, furlong 220 yards, chain 22 yards, 40 rods by 4 rods, 160 rods. 2. Historically fencing was often sold in 40 rod lengths, 1/640, 0.0015625 square mile. 1 square mile is equal to 640 acres. Perhaps the easiest way for U.S. residents to envisage an acre is as a rectangle measuring 88 yards by 55 yards, 1/10 of 880 yards by 1/16 of 880 yards, about 9/10 the size of a standard American football field. To be more exact, 1 acre is 90.75% of a 100 yards, 91.44 meters, long by 53.33 yards, 48.76 meters, wide American football field, without the end zones. The full field, including the end zones, covers approximately 1.32 acres, 0.53 ha. For residents of other countries, the acre might be envisaged as approximately 56.68% of a 105 meters, 344.49 feet, long by 68 meters, 223.10 feet, wide association football, soccer, pitch. It may also be remembered as 44,000 square feet, less 1%.
Historical origin.
The rod is a historical unit of length equal to 51/2 yards. It may have originated from the typical length of a medieval ox goad. The furlong, meaning furrow length, was the distance a team of oxen could plow without resting. This was standardized to be exactly 40 rods. An acre was the amount of land tillable by one man behind one ox in one day. Traditional acres were long and narrow due to the difficulty in turning the plow. An ox gang was the amount of land tillable by one ox in a plowing season. This could vary from village to village, but was typically around 15 acres. A virgate was the amount of land tillable by 2 oxen in a plowing season. A carucate was the amount of land tillable by a team of 8 oxen in a plowing season. This was equal to 8 ox gangs or 4 virgates. The word acre is derived from Old English acre, originally meaning open field, cognate to West Coast Norwegian ek and Swedish acre, German acker, Dutch acker, Latin ager, and Greek agros, agros. In English it was historically spelled acre. The acre was approximately the amount of land tillable by a yoke of oxen in one day. This explains one definition as the area of a rectangle with sides of length 1 chain and 1 furlong. A long narrow strip of land is more efficient to plow than a square plot, since the plow does not have to be turned so often. The word furlong itself derives from the fact that it is 1 furrow long. Before the enactment of the metric system, many countries in Europe used their own official acres. These were differently sized in different countries. For instance, the historical French acre was 4,221 square meters, whereas in Germany as many variants of acre existed as there were German states. Statutory values for the acre were enacted in England, and, subsequently, the United Kingdom, by acts of Edward I, Edward III, Henry VIII, George IV and Queen Victoria. The British Weights and Measures Act of 1878 defined it as containing 4,840 square yards. Historically, the size of farms and landed estates in the United Kingdom was usually expressed in acres, or acres, roods, and perches, even if the number of acres was so large that it might conveniently have been expressed in square miles. For example, a certain landowner might have been said to own 32,000 acres of land, not 50 square miles of land. The acre is related to the square mile, with 640 acres making up 1 square mile. 1 mile is 5280 feet, 1760 yards. In Western Canada and the Western United States, divisions of land area were typically based on the square mile, and fractions thereof. If the square mile is divided into quarters, each quarter has a side length of 1/2 mile, 880 yards, and is 1/4 square mile in area, or 160 acres. These subunits would typically then again be divided into quarters, with each side being 1/4 mile long, and being 1/16 of a square mile in area, or 40 acres. In the United States, farmland was typically divided as such, and the phrase "the back 40" would refer to the 40-acre parcel to the back of the farm. Most of the Canadian prairie provinces and the U.S. Midwest are on square mile grids for surveying purposes.
Other acres.
Customary acre. The customary acre was a measure of roughly similar size to the acre described above, but it was subject to considerable local variation similar to the variation found in carucates, virgates, bovates, nooks, and farundels. However, there were more ancient measures that were also farthingales. These may have been multiples of the customary acre, rather than the statute acre, builder's acre. In U.S. construction and real estate development, an area of 40,000 square feet. Used to simplify math and for marketing, it is nearly 10% smaller than a survey acre. Scottish acre, one of a number of obsolete Scottish units of measurement. Irish acre equals 7,840 square yards. Cheshire acre equals 10,240 square yards. Roman acre equals 1,260 square meters. God's acre, a synonym for a churchyard. The Byzantine Zugarian was also based on the area of farmland which could be ploughed by a pair, zugos, of oxen. This was adopted as the Ottoman sift, also